So good evening and welcome to the general meeting of the League of Women Voters of Broward County. My name is Monica Elliott and I am co-president of our league. Margie Robach is our other co-president. If you want to wave your hand, Margie, so we know who that is. There, thank you. Just a few announcements before we begin. First, if you are a new member to the league or you want more information about the league, we will be holding an in-person event called League 101 on Saturday, July 29th from 2 to 4 p.m. at the Hollywood Branch Library. It's absolutely free, but we would appreciate it if you would sign up in advance so we can plan accordingly. And you can go to our website, lwvbroward.org, and then you click on the event calendar in the blue bar and select this event. Or we've put the link in the chat. I tried to do it earlier, but I think there's at least 1 or 2 links in there now. Second, if you have not yet signed the abortion rights or clean water rights petitions and you wish to do so, those links to the sites for those petitions are in the chat or soon will be. So now for this evening's program. For league members, we already know the bad news that came out of the recent 2023 legislative session, some of which directly affects the league, and that specifically is SB 7050. But as I learned at the Broward County Legislative Delegation event in late May, it isn't all bad news. There were successes that will have a positive impact on lives in Florida, and we need to be informed about the good news. Senator Jason Pizzo had to cancel at the last minute, so Representative Patricia Williams, who is chair of the county's legislative delegation, will be our sole speakers tonight about those successes. And now I want to introduce Representative Williams. She is a Florida native and lifelong resident of the state who was born here in Pompano Beach in Broward County. She was elected to the Florida House in 2016, representing House District 92, which is encompassing portions of Deerfield Beach, Fort Lauderdale, Lauderdale Lakes, Margate, North Lauderdale, Oakland Park, Pompano Beach, and Tamarack. Then due to the redistricting in 2022, she now represents House District 98, which expands the district's boundaries to include all of Oakland Park and portions of the aforementioned cities, excluding Margate and North Lauderdale now. Prior to joining the House of Representatives, Representative Williams served 8 years as a commissioner and vice mayor in the city of Lauderdale Lakes. She also served a 4-year appointment from Speaker Oliva to the Children Youth Council, and she is a very staunch advocate for the children of this state. Currently, Representative Williams serves as the chair of the Broward Delegation, and that means she is the first woman ever elected to that position, which I find very remarkable, and congratulations. She is also the Democratic ranking member of the Education and Employment Committee and the Pre-K through 12 Appropriations Subcommittee in the Florida House. She holds master's degrees in Business Administration and Human Resources. As a mother of 2 and a grandmother, she enjoys spending time with her family when she has some free time. Thank you, Representative Williams. The floor is yours. And again, if everybody will remember to mute themselves.
Well, thank you, Monica. I want to start off by saying thank the League of Women for giving me this opportunity to come before you today. And yes, it is true. I enjoy spending time with my family when I do have that time to spend. I'm going to go a little fast this afternoon because at this point I'm a little offbeat. My mom is in the hospital, but my word is my bond, and that's all I have. So I am here, and you're going to have me until we actually say you answer all your questions that you may have for me. I'm going to start off by going over the appropriations that I was actually able to personally get them in budget. We're going to start off with the city of Pompano, which is a sewer and septic tank connect, was $1 million. Deerfield Beach, Martin Luther King Storm Water Protection Project is $435,000. We also have the farmers market for reconstruction packing is $300,000. We have the Florida Children Initiative for Job Training Program, $1,235,000. We have Fort Lauderdale Education Enrichment Program with $704,000, $7,408, no, that's wrong. 704,836 in the budget. We also have for the Urban League for the small business loans, we have $2 million that was able to be put into the budget and approved. Those are things that my office was personally given these items to actually put in for appropriations, and I was able to work across the aisle and get them approved in the budget to bring back to the district that I represent. The bill that I personally pushed forth this year was for year-round schools, which was House Bill 891. I pushed forth for 891 to be a year-round school program because currently we have only 64% of our students reading on grade level. And if we continue to do the same thing and expect something different, we're the ones that have the problem. So I try to look for different things that would actually help our children when they are actually on break, in between break, and able to actually get some additional help to help them. This bill will authorize a year-round school pilot program, which give each parent the option of using the year-round school. It will be 5 schools in 5 district schools will be selected. And once that school is selected, it's still the option of the parent whether that child goes to school year-round or not. Under this pilot program, a school district that wants to participate in the pilot program would have to apply through the Department of Education. This bill will help every child that participates. We have lost 2 years due to COVID, and juvenile crime increased during the time children are out of school. So this will assist those that's struggling in between, those that's looking to have something to do in time when school is not in session, and it will keep children out of school that looking to get in trouble that doesn't have anything to do. So I push forward for this year-round opportunity for our students that's struggling during the time that we have lost the 2 years, and due to the fact of children only 64% of the children reading on the school level. That bill was signed into law by our governor, so that is already approved and on the books. And it will take effect on July 1, which we have already been passed, so that's okay. We also have several bills that was put forth, and the bills that I'm speaking of was put forth by the Democratic members, and we have to be able to work with Republican members because they control the House at this particular time in the Senate. We have a bill that was put forth that will help children that's suffering with sickle cell disease. It was approved. It was SB 1352. We had SB 1580, which was a pharmacist benefit for managers that will assist those that are having problems with medical insurance, industrial. You also had HB 625, which is the Children Initiative Bill that will help the quality and funding additional programs for children. You had SB 204, which will improve employment opportunity for veterans and their spouses. We have HB 33 and SB 914, which gives money additional services for suicide prevention programs. We had HB 121, which will expand kids care eligibility for families that's 300% of the federal poverty level. So that will assist the children that need additional care during the time that certain parents are not able to afford care for them. We had HB 29, which give a permanent sales tax exemption for baby Pampers and adult products. So I guess of adult need diapers or things like that, this will give them an tax exemption from items that they will purchase. There was, we have the expansion for Live Local Act, which is SB 102, which we give an incentive for investors or other private partners that would like to build affordable housing for parents or people that actually are in need at a certain salary level. So the Live Long Action Act will actually help the local level districts to bring private developers or private partners into their cities to build affordable homes. There was $250 million for the State Housing Initiative Partnership Program, which they call a SHIP program, that was added to the budget this year. You have SB 902, which increased the safety standards for amusement park rides. Okay, those are some of the good things that I was able to witness that took place this session. I'm moving my papers around. There also has been SB 891, which will increase minimum wages for $15 by the year of 2026. There was also money put in the budget for recruitment, for state employment retention, for union workers and public employees. And I think that's gonna be all the good news that I would have for you this evening.
Okay,
Any
thank you.
questions?
I know there's some questions in the chat. One of them is, how is the year-round school bill funded? And is this only 5 schools per district or throughout the entire state?
Okay, this is going to be a pilot program, and according to the last that I read, the Department of Education will actually fund the year-round schooling. And it will take 5 schools throughout the state of Florida, and those schools will be chosen by the Department of Education. This is starting out as a pilot, and I'm hoping, quote unquote, once the pilot program starts and we see how it actually increased the learning curve for the students that participate, that then they will take it on beyond the pilot program itself.
Okay, if there are other questions, you can either put them in the chat or just go ahead and unmute yourself and ask if you would like. Or raise your hand virtually, whichever way you want to do. Okay, I see Cindy Summers. She has her hand up. Go ahead and unmute yourself, Cindy.
Yes, I just want to know what it's like for you. working with the Republicans? I mean, what's the atmosphere? What's the dynamics? How does it feel actually?
Well, it feels like you're always on the defense. You always have to, because we fight for the people. We fight for those that are not able to fight for themselves. We fight for the struggling taxpayers that don't have a whole lot of money. We fight for those that's not able to pay their insurance. We fight for those that's struggling to pay their mortgages. We fight for those that's living from paycheck to paycheck and sometimes no check versus those that's writing the check. So we're always on the defense part because we'll always have to defend some of these ugly bills that's being pushed across the aisle or across the table. Because the majority of us that's there, the 35 Democrats that's there, we're walking the same shoes of the struggling ones. We're not millionaires. We don't have a lot of money, but we know there's a need for our voices to be heard at the table. And if we're not speaking up, they always told me, if you're not at the table, you're on the menu. And it's a true statement because they don't look at the people that's in need. For an example, the insurance industry, they just gave them a blank check and let them walk away. And now all of them are leaving Florida. And the people that's taxpayers, the struggling ones, is struggling because they can't pay the insurance. We are always on the defense. The atmosphere is cutthroat. Some of them that don't believe in the same thing that's being pushed across the table, they'll walk down the hall and they'll say something to you in the hallway like, that was a bad bill. I don't know why we're pushing that. But if you're not speaking up for the people, you're a part of the problem. So we're always on the defense part to try to hold the line for the people that we know are in need and struggling.
Thank you. And thank you for doing that for us. Ronnie Heller has her hand up.
I wonder if it's on your radar, or if it should be, I don't know, with people who work full-time with zero benefits because they work for a franchise of a company. So some of the franchises give full benefits for full-time employees, and some of the franchises in a company give zero. Is that on someone's radar yet?
I haven't heard it under anybody's radar, but each representative have the option of putting bill forth that will help the district that we serve. So if it's something that we can sit down and discuss, I have 7 slots that's available to put forth bills that will help the district. I am willing to have that conversation. And if it's something that we can put forth that will help, I'm very open-minded to do just that.
Thank you. Margie, you have your hand up.
Okay, yes, Representative Williams. I just am curious about the year-round school. Like, what is the criteria do you know what that Department of Education is going to use to select those schools? Like, do they have to be low income areas, or can it be a private school that asks for that, or a pub or a charter school, or is it only traditional district school?
Well, I don't know any of the gist of it right now. I knew that the Republican Party was putting money away for education, and it was not money that they were putting away for public education. It was more of putting money away from the private schools. And when they came up with the voucher, that everybody is entitled to a voucher. If your child is from pre-K to 12th grade, you can get a $8,000, approximately $8,000 voucher, and send your child anywhere where you would like your child to attend. So that's taking money away from the public school system. I looked at how can I put something in place to help those struggling students. And when I actually said about year round, they all jumped on it. The Republican Party all jumped on it. And I'm looking at, they're jumping on it because I know they see a way that they can actually get additional money for these private schools. But our public school system is where our children, 87% of the children that is in Florida attend the public schools. And we need to try to find ways to help those kids that's already in public schools. They're struggling. How can we help them? Instead of taking the money out or pulling our students away, going to somewhere that some of the teachers are not certified, you're not in an approved location because they're not held to the same standard. So I was trying to find ways that I can actually put money aside that will help those struggling students. And none of that has been laid out of which schools they're gonna choose, why they would choose that school, and how many students will be in that school. No, it hasn't been put out yet.
Okay. Well, thank you for being a champion of public schools. We are really, that's one of our core values. So we, thank you.
Are there any other questions? Okay, I have one. You were talking about the Florida Children Initiative.
Mhm.
Can you explain that one a little bit more? That sounds very interesting.
Well, I have been trying to get several of my cities to want to bring the Florida initiative to Broward County. I proposed it to 3 different cities. 2 of them have already rejected it, so I'm waiting for that 3rd one. I'm gonna go pull what the Children Initiative. It actually give additional funding to whatever city or whatever organization choose to be the carrier of that, to give additional funding for children in a select area. It can be anywhere. We can target a certain area that say this is needed for, just say, suicide prevention. We can use the funding for that. We can use the funding for, just say we got 100 kids that need to pay $56 in order for them to go to college application, for after school programs, for anything that will help keep a child busy and off the streets. We could use that funding for.
But there's actually cities that have rejected it.
I had 2 already. I can't give you the city. Yes. Yes.
Oh,
Yes.
they're
I'm
always
waiting.
talking about they want money.
Yeah. I'm waiting for that 3rd one, and see where we go.
What
I
bill
always-
number is that?
I'm sorry.
What bill number is that?
That was an appropriation that was put forth. It was from Florida Children Initiative for job training. They put it in for job training. It was $1,235,000 that was approved. And that was already approved in the budget for, and that would have been, that area is going to be for the Jacksonville area. So I piggyback off that because I have been working with Children Initiative since I've been in the legislative. So I already have a shoe in. I'm just need someone for Broward County to pick up on it, and we have it.
I wonder if our Lock It Up program for gun safety and suicide prevention.
We can try it, you know, we can put in for it. What's the worst thing they can do is say no.
I will let Barbara Markley, I don't think she's on the call tonight, but we'll let Barbara Markley know.
Okay.
Because that's always, a big topic for us here and well, with our league especially,
Mhm.
is the
Okay.
suicide prevention. Yeah.
Well, let's see, and maybe we can work toward that also.
I'm
Right.
confused. I'm confused. You said it's for the Jacksonville area, but we can get it down here?
Yes.
So
Mhm.
which cities can get it?
Well, I already offered it to 3 different cities. 2 cities rejected, and I'm waiting for the 3rd one now.
Can Dania Beach get it?
Broward County, I don't know.
I mean, I'm involved with a mentoring tutoring program in Dania Beach, and those kids really could use help.
Well, let's see let's work on the third one and see what happens with that. I don't know if I can put in 2 children initiatives or not for Broward County, but if so, yes, I'm open-minded. I don't have a problem. And if we want to put it forth, we can put it forth, and the worst thing they can do is reject it. But if we don't put it forth, we won't be able to know that they will reject it.
Right.
Anything to do with children and keep them off the street, to keep them safe, I am 100% for it.
Helen Goldenberg, you have your hand up.
Yes, I am going back to the 5 schools in the year-round school program. Is that 5 schools in the state of Florida for this pilot, or is it 5 schools in different places?
It's in the state
5
of
schools,
Florida. It's state of Florida.
just 5 in the whole state of Florida.
For the
Yeah,
pilot
has it-
program starting out, it's going to be 5 schools in the state of Florida.
Okay, are they going to be scattered around? Has anyone lined up to try to get this money? How is it happening?
Not yet. It has just been signed into law as July 1. And it's not going to take place. It's not going to start until 2024. So all the legit is still being ironed out. And you know,
Okay.
I guess.
Yeah,
I'll
because
go
it's a
back.
little late to do it this year, so you gotta have the ducks in a row for next year. All right, I understand that.
Right.
I also am curious about something else that we haven't discussed. As I understand it, the very strict abortion restrictions will not go into effect until a court decision is made about the 15-week bill. And does anybody have any idea when that court decision is anticipated? I'm sure there are people sitting around biting their nails and, you know, all kinds of things every day, waiting for the hammer to drop. And it must be horrible for people who have certain kinds of vested interests in this, and women of childbearing age and all kinds of stuff like that. Anybody know anything?
Well,
I
the
believe
decision-
it's scheduled for September, but I
Right.
could be wrong.
That's right.
Oh, okay.
It is. I don't remember the exact date, but it is in September.
Yeah,
Well, at least we know that. All right.
And then if it's upheld, then a month later, the 6th week will go into effect.
Right.
Okay.
Or at least there's an interim period where people can get their stuff together, so to speak. All right, that's good to know. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions for Representative Williams? Okay, well, we thank you for coming on early, and we know you need to go. If you've got your mom in the hospital, we've all been there. We really understand that feeling. So thank you very much. We really appreciate it. And you're doing a good fight for us. We really, really, really appreciate that. So thank you very much.
Well,
For
once
those
again-
of you who would like to stay on, I can talk a little bit about how SB 7050 is affecting the league, where we're at on that. So I'll give you a couple seconds if you want to stay or not. That's fine. But thank you, Representative Williams. We really appreciate it.
And thank you for allowing me to be a part of your program this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Stephanie, you have your hand up.
Yeah, I wasn't going to bother her. I know she was in a rush, but I wanted to mention a couple of, you know, good things that happen in the environment in the legislature. There's about 3 things. One is that the budget does allow for a considerable amount of money for Everglades restoration and water. I wanted to mention 2 bills that passed and were signed. One gives $100 million to the Florida Forever program, which is the land acquisition program. It should be more money, but at least they did agree to give the $100 million for that. So they are buying up sensitive lands and lands that are critical to Everglades restoration. And that was one. The other is they they're working on a wildlife corridor. And they've already got the land. The people that own the land have already agreed to sell. And so there will be connecting a wildlife corridor. We have a few little concerns about it, about exactly where it will be, so that they don't, well, we don't want them to pave certain parts of the corridor where the wildlife is supposed to be. But in general, it's probably a good bill, and that they are committed to that. And the Senate president was behind it. So just, other than that, nothing, I don't think there was anything really great about energy or and nothing about plastics. So there were some disappointments, but at least we had a few things, and the budget looks pretty good for the environment.
Okay. Anybody else know of any good news that came out of the legislature? Okay. Well, I'm just, yeah. At least it sound, at least I'm impressed that the Broward County Delegation, was able to bring the money that they have been able to into Broward County, because we know that Broward County is kind of a pariah right now. So anytime they get money back here, it's a good thing. In terms of Senate Bill 7050 and its effect on the league, what the league is doing right now, it's one of these things that's not going to affect us very much here in Broward County, because when we are out at events and tabling and registering people and telling people about voting, we just give people the trifold mailer that Joe Scott developed. And he did that in response to SB 90, like 3 years ago. And it's a mailer that it's about legal size. If you haven't seen it, it's about legal size paper. The top 2/3 is the voter registration application, and the bottom is the vote by mail application. And you just fill that out. If all you want to do is do a vote by mail, you just fill that portion out. You take off the sticky strips, fold it back up, and it's already prepaid postage, and it's already addressed to Joe Scott. So we're not having to deal with any of the papers the same way, whereas the other leagues, 29 leagues, are dealing with that paper form. You can do things online, but they're dealing with the paper form. Essentially, what's come down from the state league is that leagues are not to touch paper. We are not touching the voter registration form. We are not submitting it to the supervisor of elections. We are not submitting vote by mail applications to any of the SOEs. It's like, we don't touch paper. And part of that is we are considered a third-party voter registration organization, what they call 3PVRO. And in SB 7050, there are a lot of restrictions that are being placed on it. And one of them is that if you are going to be registering voters, you're going to have to sign a form that indicates you are a U.S. citizen and you have not been convicted of a multitude of different felonies. So, and we're not going to play into that game right now. That's why we have filed a lawsuit against 7050. There's other things that are going to come down, which may be good or bad, but that's really the worst one, is that we don't feel that we should have to prove we are trustworthy citizens, et cetera, just to be able to register people to vote. There's a lot of non-citizens, they have their green card, but they're not yet citizens, who do help out with the league and voter registration, or they help their own organizations, like the Immigration Coalition. So there's just a lot of bad things that were in the 7050 that were directly affecting the league. One of the other things is the other reason we're not collecting any paper is that it says in the law that you can't have the private information of the voter. And there's just a lot of contradiction there, because at the same time, we will be allowed to give them a receipt if we do register somebody with a vote paper ballot or paper registration form. And on that receipt is personal information. And we're allowed to copy that. And yet, technically, in another part of the bill, it says, no, you can't do that. So we're just trying to keep the league out of trouble for now until everything gets sorted out. So that's why we're just kind of taking a break from doing anything with paper. We don't see it, again, in Broward County, we haven't dealt with it in a very long time, but it's going to really affect all the other counties who did use that. We do know that it's primarily people of color who, when they first register to vote, are usually doing it through the league and some of the other 3 PVROs. So it's going to affect voter registration and then ultimately voting. But hopefully we can get this sorted out and get back to doing what we used to do. Are there any questions about that? There's been some training. There is a new voter registration training and quiz, and you are required to do that, take that again. And I know a number of you already have. So, but if there are any questions, I'd be happy to try to answer them.